You're listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast with your hosts, Emily
and Jason. Emily, we're in the month. We're here. Our tour is coming up. Are you ready?
It's in 3 weeks, so
3
you
weeks.
still have time to buy tickets.
Yes. reallyverycrunchy.com/tour. But don't turn off the podcast to do that, because you might
Just wait.
forget and not come back. We don't want that.
We'll remind you at the end.
Yeah.
Jason will put a link in the bio.
I'm not ready, just because I have to stand in front of people.
Yep, the stage fright thing is imminent and just looming.
Who in the world's idea was this?
Not ours.
It was not mine. I did not want to ever. I have spent my life trying not to be in front of big crowds of people, and here we are.
It's going to be great, though. We're going to have a good time. They're going to have a good time. Everybody will leave happy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least 60%.
Everyone will leave. At some point.
Everyone will
hopefully
leave.
not before the show is finished, because, well, you've had that happen. That's embarrassing.
Thank you for reminding me.
Not massive crowds, just like less than 1% got up and left your speech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, less than 1%, you're good.
Maybe 1%.
Emily, I have a question for you. We've had to order a couple of things, over the past few weeks. Seeds are coming in, different things from, good places or whatever. Could you speak for a moment on your frustration of the cost of shipping?
That's a really weird thing
Why?
to ask, but...
No, I think it needs to be addressed. Finally, once and for all.
Okay, I ordered seeds, and they came in a small brown paper envelope.
Small, tiny brown paper envelope. Weighs what? Like less than a letter?
No, it weighs more than a letter.
Okay, like a hefty letter with really good paper and ink?
Sure.
With maybe a wax seal?
Yes.
There you go. Okay, so a really high quality letter.
We're talking
written in
flower
cursive.
seeds. I don't know. I mean, I've ordered from a few different places.
They're like the size of poppy seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's in a paper envelope, an envelope within an envelope, but they're small. You guys know what flower seeds look like.
You know what flowers look like. Yeah.
I ordered, and one place charged me $15 for shipping.
Mm-hmm.
$15.
Yeah.
That's more than the seeds.
And you ordered it before tariffs were in place.
Yeah. Well, not that
And
they
they're
would
U.S.
be coming,
I know.
yeah.
It's a joke. I'm kidding.
And then, what did I get on to order the other day? We usually buy meat from a local regenerative farm, but they took the month of February off, and then whenever I got back on, or they took the month of January off when I got back on, like now that it's February, ready to order meat, they didn't have a lot. So then I was exploring other options, and there's a place that I really love their meat, but to order ground beef.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like quality delicious.
Yeah.
But the ground beef itself was $15 a pound.
Wow.
And then to ship it,
high.
10 pounds was $76.
Wow.
$76 just for shipping.
That's a better rate than the seeds, however. Given that it's much heavier.
No.
It's much heavier,
Okay.
and they have to keep it frozen.
But it was only 10 pounds of ground beef. So that's like 10 weeks of beef for my family.
Was
but
only
the seeds are going to provide
0.10 ounces
flowers
of
for
seeds.
the whole season of spring, summer, and fall. There's so much more
Well, think
happiness.
about the weight to shipping ratio with the flower seeds and the weight to shipping ratio of the
With the
meat.
meat.
That's crazy.
Well, this tells you what I value. I paid for the seeds. I didn't buy the meat.
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna go hungry. No, that's prices have gotten crazy. But that is just a hidden tax or something. That's a hidden cost. They're making money
On shipping.
on shipping.
Mm-hmm.
$20 shipping. That's like old school eBay stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I would sell when I was a kid. I sold my PlayStation. Like, I'm gonna charge $45 shipping. Suckers.
Did you do that?
Well, I got to UPS and it was like, that'll be $55 to ship it. I'm like, oh, darn it. I thought I was being smart. And I wasn't. No. So anyway, no eggs in the store either. Not that we get eggs from the store.
We get eggs from the store. Well, the local places that we buy eggs from, now their hens aren't producing, so we can't get their eggs, and we don't have our own chickens.
Well, are they producing, or do they just they have bird flu and they're not telling anybody?
No, I don't think that's what it is.
Oh, it's just the middle of the winter. Okay.
Yeah. See, and this is where I really get hung up on getting my own chickens.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Okay,
bird
first
flu?
I'm gonna no.
Oh.
Surprisingly not.
For you, that's
yes.
a definite surprise, yes.
I was on a walk the other day and I picked up a blue jay feather and I was like admiring it and then stuck it in my pocket. And then the next day, people were like panicking, freaking out, talking to me about bird flu. And I'm like,
you're like looking for your hazmat suit to get it out of your pocket.
In my system, because I'm pretty sure I scratched my face after I touched the feather.
I tickled my ear with it.
I didn't do that. I wouldn't put it past me though. No, so you buy the coop, you buy the. I mean,
how
no matter
many?
What you say,
yeah.
You're gonna have to supplement feed for chickens.
Sure.
Like no chicken is fully pasture raised, or none from people I've talked to. You're gonna have to supplement a little.
Oh, right. They're not just like foraging for bugs in February.
Right. I mean, people might be able to do it with table scraps and such.
Yeah.
But
somebody's doing it, right?
Somebody's doing it.
Very few.
We're probably not, because we like eat stuff to the
bone.
bone.
We do not have table scraps. In fact,
there's no table scraps, definitely.
Well,
but
Alder didn't finish his soup the other day, and I just put it back in our soup, and we ate it today. That's probably gross, but I don't care.
It's our family. We're not serving the soup to somebody else.
Oh, that was also what we gave one of those pregnant mothers on the meal train. It's like, Alder didn't finish his soup. You want some?
No.
We don't waste a thing in our family, especially not on the chickens.
Anyway, so you like invest all this money, and then how many eggs are you getting? You get like an egg per hen per day, depending.
Well, you're also talking about non-handy people. We're not making our coop.
No, we're
I'm
not
not
going to buy that. And I want it to be pretty.
Yeah,
we've already talked about this.
Aesthetically pleasing. Yeah.
Okay, so like you've invested all this stuff, and then you still end up buying your eggs from the grocery store through the winter because your hens just don't lay.
Jerks.
So what? Like to me, I'm like, I don't know if I can get behind that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a.
I always like to tell
for
people,
the experience, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you can feel good about where your eggs are coming from, and
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but I tell people that I like to support farmers who are doing everything correctly.
I support farmers with my laziness.
It's not that I'm lazy.
No, I know.
I'm seeking to support the farmers who are doing it right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It
has nothing
to do
with
let's
my
support all
laziness.
the farmers that want to give us eggs for too much money. Please. Do people feed chickens grains?
Yeah. Why?
Is that a bad thing? Because I mean, it's bad when you give it to cows. Is it bad when you give it to chickens?
Well, I think a chicken would naturally eat that, So it has to do with the whole thing. Like crunchy people hate when chicken stuff says, like eggs say vegetarian fed, or
because chickens aren't supposed to eat
they're
grass.
not vegetarians, so they should be getting meat.
Only carrot-fed chickens.
Yeah, I think it just has to do with what they would naturally consume.
But
like when we purchase, we buy the Vital Farm eggs, and which there's a lot of There's a lot
You
of
never
mixed
know.
stuff
I
out
mean,
there.
they're pretty big. They're a publicly traded company.
I know. They do have an organic version that we'll try to get when we can.
I hear the Microsoft guy puts a peel on the eggs.
What I've heard is that they don't heat their eggs to destroy the choline. So there's
What's choline?
It's a mineral found in eggs. It's an essential mineral.
People heat eggs?
Yeah, they're doing something to
Pasteurized eggs?
Yeah, I think that's essentially it. We should double check this, but
what's the point?
To make them safer. So anyway, it disrupts some of the essential nutrients and minerals and vitamins and yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I saw on the Vital Farms website it said something like their farmers feed their hens soy. And so then I had a moment of like panic because I'm always my eggs soy. From chickens that were fed soy. So then I messaged my friend who's probably crunchier than me. She may not be crunchier than me in action, but she like is already on top of all the terrible things. And I'm like, what? They feed their hens soy? And she's like, well, I feed my hens soy because I've noticed a difference. They're way happier when they have soy. Supposedly, they're like her hen's feathers are full and shiny and so much better. She has like a massive flock. So
it's kind of like you when you find.
Like, okay, well,
it's like you when you get chocolate. You're way happier.
I do feel
your hair is shinier.
We haven't had chocolate in the house lately. I'm like,
yeah.
Where's my little square?
Your hair's starting to frizz out a little bit.
I know.
You're limping at night.
I do limp at night. I don't know what's
you
going
get a little
on,
bit of chocolate and you have a spring in your step.
It's a pep.
Yeah, a little pep in your step. Well, the reason I asked about the grain-fed chickens was because I was wondering, our topic today is about going against the grain, and it sort of fell flat because it didn't. You kind of kept going.
What did you want me to say?
No, it was a play on words, and I failed. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Well,
but it has nothing to do with chickens.
I didn't get where you were going with that because when we were discussing, like, what could our podcast be? You said going against the flow.
Oh.
So I would, if I had known that that's what you were doing, maybe I would have played into it a little, but.
Yeah. So does the grain flow for chickens? I don't know. It
depends on the feeder type.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. If we ever got chickens, I'd have to get the auto everything. Like the thing raises when the sun comes up.
Okay, people are so triggered about people calling people lazy. Like, we don't use paper plates, but we're going to get the automatic chicken everything because we're lazy.
That's not lazy. I don't want to deal with the chickens. I know there's going to be a point where I'm going to have to deal with the chickens, and I will gladly benefit from the chickens. I get that. I don't want to deal with them unless I have to. So, yeah, I don't, if it's cold or, whatever, I don't want to go outside. The grass is too dewy, and I don't want to get it on my feet. I want that automatic door to come up.
We were not meant to be homesteaders, clearly. This is just...
I'm kidding. I like dew on my feet.
I do like dew on my feet.
Love dew from the mountains. I actually don't like mountain dew. Can I say one more
thing, though? We don't even love eggs. That's the other thing.
I think I'm the only one in the family that just pretty much loves eggs.
You love eggs, or you can eat them?
Okay, does anybody love eggs? I know there's that song, I love eggs from my head down to my leg. You remember that from the 90s?
No.
It was egg commercials, probably Eggland's Best, which that's the best they could do. No. I really like eggs. I don't like them runny. But
I like them kind of runny, but I just...
Only if you have a little bit of toast.
Yeah.
I
don't really care for eggs. Every time I'm eating scrambled eggs, it just feels like, what is in my mouth? What am I eating?
Every time I eat scrambled eggs, I'm like, this feels like muscle. Like I'm gaining muscle. It's protein, and it's good for my brain.
I can't, they're just weird. So, there's no other texture like that.
That's true.
And I'm just not into it. I just don't really care for
fried
them.
eggs.
Not the same. It's a weird
Boiled
texture.
eggs.
Boiled eggs have a weird texture. They all have a weird texture. They're just like every way you make an
Deviled
egg, it's a
eggs.
little bit weird. I like deviled eggs.
I love deviled
I'll
eggs.
reach for a deviled egg.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm never just sitting there like, oh, you know what I could go for?
I have done that, and I've just like
deviled egg.
I have craved deviled eggs so much that I just made them.
Let's talk about how your family says stuffed eggs.
I think that's
so
a
that
Southern
we're not
thing.
eating something from the devil.
Oh, that's my grandmother right there. I think, yeah, that's
She like refuses to call them deviled eggs. They're stuffed eggs.
yeah, okay, whatever.
Oh, come on, Jason. You guys have laughed at that.
We've
even
laughed at
thought
it.
about
Yeah,
it.
I don't think my family, like my brothers, sisters, parents, we don't think we called it stuffed eggs. That was just my grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just called them deviled eggs. Yeah, they were never stuffed eggs. But maybe other people. Do you call it stuffed eggs? Leave a comment below. Where was I going with that?
Against the grain.
No, I loved eggs. I like eggs.
I want an egg to be as hidden as possible.
You know, I actually don't like omelets that much. They're usually just overcooked. That's the problem.
I like omelets because it's an excuse to use ketchup.
Oh, well.
And I have
I don't
a
like
ketchup
ketchup
problem.
on my eggs.
Can't remember if I've admitted this on the podcast. I really love ketchup so much.
It's a weird thing.
I love ketchup. And so we had to go ketchup free for a while, or ketchup free for a year.
She's in ketchup recovery.
I ordered ketchup with my last Azure Standard, but it's not hitting quite like real ketchup.
Unfortunately, it doesn't hit like Heinz, right? Even Heinz
I didn't
organic.
buy Heinz.
Heinz
I didn't
organic.
buy Heinz.
No, I know you didn't, but
Yeah.
it's good though.
Yeah.
It's good. They have Heinz
Ketchup.
organic. They have organic high fructose corn syrup. I'm kidding. That's not a
No,
thing.
I think they make it with sugar.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, sugarless ketchup is
It's
just
not.
tomato paste.
Well, they try to make it with date paste. I
don't think they blend very well.
No, I was buying one from Kroger. It was a organic one and it had date paste in it. It's not the same, but that's what I was like using last.
Mm-hmm.
I just love it so much.
This may be disgusting to some people, but I feel the same way about mayonnaise.
Yeah, no, you like mayonnaise more than I like ketchup because you'll go to the jar and take a spoonful of mayonnaise, and I would never do that with ketchup. I'm
Not a
dipping
spoonful,
something.
more like if I'm like spreading it, and I'll definitely.
I've
take
seen
the
you
rest of
get a
it.
spoonful of mayonnaise before. I have seen
There
you.
are some people right now listening to this who are like gagging at the thought of eating that much mayonnaise.
You have gotten me more into mayonnaise than I used to be.
Mayonnaise is great.
I
It's
never would have
fantastic.
just been like,
If I had to choose between eating fries with ketchup or mayonnaise, it's mayonnaise. I'm the French way.
okay, but really,
That's what
we
the
can
French do.
all agree that honey mustard is better than mayonnaise because it's just mayonnaise. I mean, here's how you make your own honey mustard. You take mayonnaise and you
Load it.
squirt a squirt with mustard and the equal amount honey.
Squirt a squirt. Are you talking about a plastic squeeze bottle of
That's
mustard?
all I have is a plastic squeeze bottle. It's organic, but yeah, it's plastic. I guess I wonder if I've never seen like a glass jar of mustard that's organic. And what's better?
I'm sure there are. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, not at our store. I
Not
mean.
at ours, yeah.
Could I be grinding mustard seed and making my own mustard?
I guess. It doesn't work out when you make your own mayonnaise, though. It's nothing like the store-bought. Sorry to tell you.
I did notice the past couple times you've been to the store, you've bought it.
It's avocado.
It's
Oil.
rude when I open the refrigerator and
There's
see
a
that.
new
It's
jar.
like you are telling me like, no thanks. No thanks on your mayonnaise, Emily.
I love your cooking. I love your food. I love everything you make, except I think your mayonnaise is okay. It doesn't make me want it. I will never just get your mayonnaise and pull it out of the jar and eat some.
Okay. But we can all agree that honey mustard
Yeah. Well,
is
and you
better.
can change the flavors depending on your mustard and honey type.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We should just turn this into a cooking
This is
podcast.
gonna
Can
be-
we
this
just
is a
talk
food
about
episode?
food? Yeah.
Let's do it.
This
All right.
isn't a food episode. We're
Have you
talking about
always-
going against the grain. What?
Have you always been someone who goes against the grain and or flow your whole life?
I not intentionally.
Mm.
So whenever I was young, I mean, you just can't change the fact when you're just a little strange, a little different, a
Yeah.
little off.
Yeah. I knew it the moment I met you. I'm like, oh, she's off.
I shouldn't have used the word off. It was a little weird, just like a little.
Something off about her.
Huh.
What's that twitch?
So, like, by personality, yes, I have always gone against the grain.
And
And
you're
I'm
saying
not
that
like
it's not on
trying
purpose.
to. It's not on purpose. I just am a little different, and so I'm running a little differently.
I may be similar in that and how I grew up. Like I was against the flow, but mine was more of a I can't stand authority just in general. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it turned into, so I became sort of this troublemaker in a funny way, not in like a mean way. But then I started
to your teachers.
Well, but even they would laugh sometimes when they kick me out of the room or send me to the principal's office or something. But like,
How many times did you go to the principal's office?
I have no idea.
It was a regular occurrence.
That and detention, yeah.
I got detention one time and I was devastated. Devastated.
Really?
Yes, I can't even remember what happened, but I remember feeling so just like this was unjust. And
What did you go to detention for?
I can't remember, but I was totally ashamed. Just like, I cannot believe I'm here.
You really don't remember what it's for?
I don't. It was something so small.
Oh, I'm sure.
I can't remember.
No, mine at least a dozen times. Yeah.
And then I got my name on the board once in 4th grade.
No way. One
Yes.
time?
Yes, Jason.
Listen, I'd walk into the room and they would just automatically put my name on the board. Like, it was just, oh, Jason's here today. Just some days I would just start with a check next to my name.
I would never.
Oh.
And it taunted me all day.
I put my name on the board once.
Yeah, they made me do it.
No, I mean, I just did it voluntarily. I really did.
No, but you would think that then I'd be like a super organized, really great student, but my desk was always just a mess. I mean, the worst desk of all the students. It was me. One time.
Wait a second. Really?
Yes.
It is you then.
No.
That's why we have a mess in our house so much.
It was just like crammed full of papers. And I mean, there should be shame upon my family over my desk. One time, no, I will never forget this. We were reading out of a textbook. You know, they're in English class, they would have scripts and you would go around the room, like she'd assign a character and you would just read through a play. Yeah. It was Sherlock Holmes or something. And she was like, well, let's kind of act it out as we read it. And she just walked up to my desk and grabbed it and pulled it to the front of the room to be a table for the play.
Okay.
And it showed my desk.
The inside was shown?
Yeah, she grabbed it from in front of me. And it pulled it, and it was just like stuff fell out. Yes, and I mean, I was so embarrassed.
Just mortified.
I mean, I was just like, "What? What are you doing? I don't have any friends already."
An old banana like falls out.
Basically, it was horrible. It's one of the worst days of my life. I'll never forget it.
That and the detention.
Yes.
Wow. I never got like so bad into like I never got like suspended. So my crimes were never severe.
Yeah.
It was always just like pranks and stuff. So you know, but just to clarify.
Did you ever skip school?
Yeah. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I skipped school one time.
It's always just once. I just need a little taste. I need just a little taste
No,
of mischief.
It was with my mom's permission.
That's not skipping school.
It was because
That's not real hooky right there.
It was. I got approached at the mall because my hair was so long, and they're like, "Will you be in our hair show?" They came to Paducah, and like you get your hair cut up on stage while stylists are watching.
Excuse me, are you a dropout?
So
your hair?
So it was during school hours, and I asked my mom if I could do it because it's like a real New York City stylist or something.
That's how they marketed it. Yeah.
And I got a really cool haircut, but okay, I went. I had hair
from Bowling Green
past my waist, and it was like my hair color.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom called the school and said I wasn't feeling well or something.
Oh wow!
Then the next
she'll have
day,
to verify. And Kathy,
I went back.
You're listening to this.
school
I want to verify. Did you do that
after I missed? Oh, not only that, I had to lie to them because
they
were like,
16,
"Go
right?" Or something.
You had to have your mom's or an adult sign. Yeah, so I
Oh.
just like went outside and signed it with my mom's
Oh,
name
I've
and
done
then went
that
back
dozens
in.
of times.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was my one time.
Like when they
To
sign
forge.
the report card. You
You
don't.
didn't have your parents sign your report card?
You. Who would do
Can't
that?
a teacher tell? Like, I would be able to tell that this was not.
I'm not saying I didn't get caught.
Okay, anyway, I missed school. I went back after not feeling well, and my hair was like short and black and jagged.
I was not feeling well at all. I missed my. I don't know.
I just remember my English teacher being like, feeling better?
Oh wow. I always liked it when teachers were like they're understanding. It's like, okay, you all right, welcome back. Wait, you didn't even skip the whole day, or was it the next day? Did you go back in that day?
No, I skipped the whole day.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you went back that afternoon. Like, that's not skipping school, Emily.
No, I skipped.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds to me like you're goody two shoes, not
I
against
was a
the
goody
grain.
two-shoes, but I still was against the grain because, say, like in high school. So we went to church with this guy who owned a trailer park, and somebody at the trailer park abandoned their car.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that I was 16 and needed a car, so he asked my family if I wanted it for free.
That's pretty cool.
That was the only car I was going to get.
Yeah.
Like, there was no other option. It was this car.
Yeah.
It was
What was it? Do you,
worthy of being abandoned at a trailer park.
do you remember what it was? What kind? What's like a?
I think it was a Chevy, or no, sorry. It was a Buick LeSabre,
Wow.
and it was
About a
early
80
80s.
something?
Early 80s. And it
It's
was
a box.
brown.
It's a big box car, right?
Limo. Like, it was
Yeah.
as long. My friend's mom.
It's a 3-seater, but it's as big as a limo.
No, my friend's mom drove a vintage limo.
Oh.
And we parked my car next to the limo, and my car was only like 6 inches shorter.
I want to know why your friend's mom drove a vintage limo.
Because they didn't have a lot of money either.
But they have a limo. I mean, there's plenty of other
was like a
not expensive cars.
It was like a 1970s limo.
Well,
I mean, I would do it totally. That's like
we've
the
got the
OG
Pinto or
minivan.
the limo right here, so
Yeah,
okay.
they're like, think of all the people we could drive around.
Oh, they must be important. Poor people. They're in a
Anyway,
limo.
we parked my car next to that limo, and it was not much. It was not much shorter. But my car was brown and ugly, and I'm not gonna drive that. Like, if there was anything I could do about it. So I asked my mom if I could paint it, and she said yes. And so we just bought some Rust-Oleum paint, and I painted it beautifully. It was,
Wow.
I loved it.
I did see a picture of it the other day. We found one, or you found one. Somebody found one. And
Can you like post a link to a Dropbox so everybody can see it?
I'll drop a picture of. It's hard to see, sort
It's a
of,
terrible quality picture.
but it's the only one we have. So
Yeah.
the picture's in the description.
But I loved my car then. But I
Yeah.
was like this kind of weird chick driving around in this painted car, but I made it into something.
So you had to sort of embrace being this counterculture,
Because I didn't have another
against
choice.
the flow type of person.
Yeah.
It's an economic choice, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some.
Yeah.
I think, and that's, my decorating style. I was always mismatched and sort of thrifted, curated, before that was really a trend.
Mm-hmm.
But it was because we had to be.
Yeah.
It's not like we could just go buy a new couch. So I had to find one, and it usually worked out. Like, it looked cool.
Right.
But it was out of necessity.
Yeah, and see, I was poor, so I just had a really cruddy car and didn't do anything cool with it at all.
When we were dating,
you kind of took your lemons and made lemonade, though.
I even wrote that on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I forgot.
When fancy lemons make lemonade. Cliche.
Yeah. Well,
it's a good saying.
There you go. It works.
No, whenever we were dating, you had a big hole in your car.
I hit a
driver's
deer.
seat. No. And I sewed it up with a cute little bandana patch.
Oh, yeah.
Put a little flare in there.
Yeah. I felt pretty cool with that bandana patch. Well, okay. And I guess I didn't really start this off right, because I wanted to ask that, because I would obviously say that you're pretty against the flow now, obviously.
I would say
the crunchy
I fit into the counterculture
vibe, whatever. Do you feel now that what you do now is more out of necessity or out of new knowledge? Let's say, like, you gain new knowledge of something, so therefore you change how you are. Why is that the case? When a lot of people, it's kind of like from last week, what to do with the knowledge you have. You have new knowledge and you change your life. You learn about something and you go into this opposite direction of what society's going into full force.
So I think I can play out.
Well, my question is, what is different in a person? And there's hundreds, maybe thousands of people listening to this right now who are doing what you're doing.
Who are counterculture.
Who are a counter to what is the flow of culture and the flow of society right now. On purpose. What is the common thing that you guys have that other people don't have? I find that to be fascinating. A fascinating
thought. You're counterculture too.
Well, I've always been. I was counterculture before it was cool. I'm kidding.
So, well, one thing I know, whenever I just recently shared this story about how when I was in middle school, I was a cheerleader, and they gave all the cheerleaders an ornament, and me getting that ornament, it was so impactful to me. I shared it on Instagram. Anyway, and because somebody saw me and knew I existed, and that was just in one of the loneliest times of my life. So I put that story out there. I got hundreds of messages saying, I think we can all relate to this. This, middle school was so lonely. That can't be the case for everybody, because I was the loneliest kid at middle school. I'm looking around and everybody had friends and everybody had a spot at the lunch table.
I did fine in middle school. Middle school was okay for me. It was college, actually, at first that I went.
Okay, so people maybe relate at different stages.
I think so, yeah.
I think if it happens to you young, then it's part of your
identity, yeah.
Yeah, it's who you are. It's this.
Well, you're forming as a person.
Yeah, the formative years.
Right.
You're different.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fit in.
Your desk is atrocious.
So then as you grow up, that is part of who you are. And I think that can stick with you, and it makes you less afraid to buck the system, because you're no, I'm not going to just fit in. I disagree with this. And you're not scared to be different.
Right.
You're not scared to make different choices, because in your formative years, you were different.
Right.
You think?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And then I also think people who want a result, you can see the path. You see the path of least resistance and you see where it's going, but you want a different result. So how are you going to get there? You can't just ride the easy path, go with the flow. I don't want my family culture to look like every other American family where they get together and sit down and watch TV and scroll their
Just
phone.
like,
That is not what I want for my family. So I'm not going to do the same things. I don't want my kids to, how do I say this? I don't want my teenagers to look like the average teenager in America.
Right.
I don't want that. So I'm not going to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. And so it probably makes sense to say that just because your form, as you shaped as a person, it helped shape you as a parent, helped shape you as, it's really neat because it's anybody who had a life of just going with the flow and everything was fine. Why would you change that?
And why would you question anything?
Why would you question everything's
Even
okay?
If you do want something different, it might be harder for you to say, well, we're going to do this differently because you've always been in the flow.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's a lot of things. I mean, personality types play into
Except
it.
I'm a huge people pleaser.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate upsetting other people, but ultimately my convictions are going to win out.
Right.
So, and I think that's another thing. I mean, people who have spiritual convictions, that can keep you from going with the flow.
Sure.
You should know that from your childhood. I mean, your parents were very strict because of their convictions.
Oh, we didn't go with the flow. That was for sure. Yeah, and that could be a very. I kind of wonder if part of my acting out had something to do with just going. Maybe I was going against the flow of my own family culture. In addition to that, I also went against the flow of every other thing outside of my family, just being more of a clown. You know what I mean? Because see, when I acted out or when I did all these dumb things at school or out in public or whatever, I got a positive response from it. People laughed. There was this positive reinforcement of being an idiot, basically. And so I went with it.
But you weren't an idiot. You were, are we allowed to say that word?
Idiot? Yeah, we can say idiot on the podcast, I think. Children, if you're listening, don't say that. No, but I got positive reinforcement from my peers for acting crazy. And doing that, I got the biggest laughs going against authority. I really did, like playing pranks on teachers, different things. And
you played pranks on the teachers?
Oh yeah, especially substitute teachers.
Hard life, Jason. It's already hard for them.
Tell 16-year-old Jason that. Don't tell me. I don't. It's over. Okay, but yeah, I mean. Yeah.
Like what?
I'm not saying this is cute by any means, but we would have a substitute and, they would turn and start writing stuff on the board. You'd start flicking paper at them, little pieces of paper, and they would turn around. And the lady is, she's older, gets flustered really easily, and she starts getting really mad. And the madder the teacher gets, the funnier it is. And one time I found a container of tuna that was in my locker, and it had been there for about 6 months, and it had grown stuff in it. I forgot about it. That's how messy my locker was. We're both very messy. And I opened it and put it in the trash can in one of my teacher's rooms. And then later I saw her spraying air freshener all over the school. I mean, just stuff like that all the time. And I don't know. I was not very good. I'm talking about myself now, and now I feel guilty. Like, oh man. There have been many cultural revolutions over the years, over the decades. I mean, many of them great. Some of them, whatever. I don't know. You got the hippies, you got the punk rock movement. Of course, you have things like the civil rights movement. All of these things are different movements that happen for one particular reason or another. Are we about to see, or are we seeing any kind of a health movement? Or is everything so segmented now that we're not really, or is it still so small? You know what I mean?
It feels so small. It does. At least
the crunchy movement
in mid-America.
Yeah.
It just feels like not that many people are actually actively making changes.
Mm.
You know, I'm still on Facebook, and I see, my friends share things, and it's kind of interesting to me when I see someone start sharing information that I agree with, like recipes or sharing reels about trying to make healthier choices, And so like out of, I don't know, I have 400 friends or something on there, one person is also interested in the things I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
They're like sharing that kind of stuff. So it also feels like, yeah, it's just not popular. It's not common, but maybe there is going to be a shift. There's going to be a movement. But we talked about this with the Kellogg's stuff. So people are like, boycott Kellogg's, but then they're just going to go buy Post.
Yeah. Right.
Is that what's happening? I don't know.
Probably.
It all comes down to your work ethic and like your priorities. Are you willing to put the work in to make things change?
Yeah.
Nothing's easy. So you have to be a hard worker if you want to go against the grain, and that takes effort.
And when I think about when it comes to health, is particularly when it comes to food, I really think ignorance is, and that's not the same. Just to be clear, that's not the same as somebody being dumb. It's ignorance is the lack of knowledge of something. I believe ignorance is the root of a lot of problems in that, and we've literally heard people say, "Well, if it's at the store, then it's not going to be bad for you," because they wouldn't want to put something in the store that's bad for you.
They wouldn't sell you something.
And then you see things like, oh, they've banned red number 3 now. And it's like, well, that signals to some people like, oh, cool. So red stuff is healthier than it was. When really it's like another red coloring. And it's like they're not diving deep into it. They're just like, well, it's there. Still
just accepting that whatever is sold would be acceptable.
Right. And so I think a lot of people don't even know how to go against the grain on stuff when it comes to food. I think general,
because it does. You have to look. You have to look at what you're eating, and then make a choice. But I don't think the podcast listeners. I would have a hard time believing that people listening to this podcast don't do that.
Listen, if you are listening to the podcast right now, you're already going against the grain because most people don't listen to us. You are going against the flow right now.
Yeah.
No. If you are here, why not drop a 5-star review?
I felt it. I felt it
coming.
Somebody commented on our earthly giveaway. Oh, Jason let you do a giveaway. And it was like, this is not the giveaway I want to do. It's a great giveaway. That one is. But
what are you saying?
For the 1,000 reviews. Because I keep saying, like, you should
do a giveaway for. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if we get to 1,000 reviews, we will do a giveaway.
Oh, you'll let me? We'll figure it out.
We'll give away 1,000.
You already did this.
Thank yous.
Yeah. Just no.
I wasn't trying to end the episode. I was just saying, while you're listening, just hit that 5 stars right there.
This is not the time for that.
I'm sorry. Bad marketing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
I don't know if we've come to any kind of conclusion.
Surprise, surprise.
I'm not good at conclusions.
Well, I think the conclusion is if you are someone who goes against the grain, then you should be proud of yourself because you're willing to be different. It takes courage. It takes boldness. It takes
Got a lot of self-talk over here.
it takes something. I mean, you have to be something special.
Yeah.
Because you have to be willing for people to look at you and say they're weird or they're like.
You do have to reach a point of I don't care.
Yeah.
What
you have to
that person
be,
might
yeah,
think
like
of me.
whatever it is that fuels you is greater than your desire to appeal to other people.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that does take courage. And it also takes effort.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, somebody who listens to our podcast said something to me. Who was it? I'm sorry, I can't remember everybody. But this gal messaged me and she was like, I was slaughtering chickens while I was listening to your podcast. And like, she's out
If
there.
she's listening to it
doing
now, she's going to be
work.
really disappointed in our chicken bit at the beginning of the podcast.
I know.
So sorry.
I know.
We were not slaughtering
I was
chickens.
thinking that. No, but we'll buy your chickens.
Yeah.
She, like that, it takes effort to do that, to not just go to the grocery store and buy those chickens. It'd probably be a lot easier to do that. But she was convicted about raising her own meat. That was important. So she's doing it and other people aren't. I'm not, but I'm just saying like it takes gumption.
Right. Right. Well, and you can be, there's a lot of ways to go against the flow. I mean, it's not all just one thing. It's not even your whole life. It's not always good. There are negative sides to going against the flow.
Then there's the whole aspect of like, quote unquote, going against the flow, but you doing it
for appearance's sake,
or for popularity, or to actually fit
well, see, that's
in.
kind of what I was doing as a kid in a way. That's what I got my laughs and my friends were happy when I was getting in trouble. It's not exactly a win for me. Hey, do something really awful that'll get you into detention. That'll be hilarious.
But
okay, I'll do it. I would fall downstairs. And I would roll down the stairs at school and I would have fake blood on my hand. And
you just had packets of fake blood around?
I did. Yes. For these particular moments.
Where did you buy
Halloween stores, different things. You get them at Halloween and stuff. And it's like little
just
capsules.
Stock up on fake blood?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm going to buy enough fake blood to last me until next Halloween.
We didn't do that a bunch, but like I would fall down the stairs and I would like have these ready to bust onto my head and I'd smack it on my forehead and it would just like.
Did it look real?
Up. It was a little neon-ish, but when you're not expecting blood to be flowing all over somebody's face, it looks like it's a little terrifying. But that was fun watching the people's faces, thinking that I had really injured myself.
Are they just walking by you, or?
Like, oh my goodness! I remember one guy. He just stopped in his tracks and stared with his mouth was hanging open, and I'm like, I'm just joking. Blood dripping down my head. Or I did it in class. Somebody would hit my head against the desk, and then the teacher would see like blood coming down my. After a while, it doesn't work. When you go to the same school, you got to switch schools if you want it to keep working.
Yeah, I'm looking at you like.
It only works a few times. There's different crowds. If you go to a bigger school, you can do it in front of different crowds. It only goes so far.
So then, like, you did go to a new school.
I didn't do it there. No,
okay. I'm thinking, like, did you bring the blood things in your pocket?
Different
like,
kind of friends
to...
all together. It was that went away pretty much.
You should have been in band.
I went with
Jason.
the flow that year, I think. And it was a good year. Oh, should have been in band? My school, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I should have been in color guard. Bored. I was bored. I wasn't in sports because I thought my school was kind of big and all the sports guys and stuff were like really good. And I just, whatever. So I just played pranks. I was bored. I was very bored. Didn't do well in school.
I'm just letting you go. Just keep going.
Well, really very crunchy's against the flow, sorta. It's not normal. Or is it with the flow? What is it?
No, I'd say it's pretty against it, considering the
hate mail we get.
Yes.
Why do you guys fight and talk to each other all the time like that?
Thank you for all the sweet letters. I went and checked my P.O. box, and I got several super sweet letters from people. And a lady from Australia, she sent me a pair of hand knit socks.
Nice.
Never had. Custom handmade socks. And you know what's really cool? She guessed my foot size perfectly.
Is that cool?
I told her, I messaged her. I was like, I'm a little creeped out. Did you come to my house and measure my feet while I was asleep? Or how did this?
Yes, all the way from Australia.
But they fit perfectly.
Well, you know how I can point out a movie star and tell you how tall they are? Maybe she's like that with feet.
And
she has seen you barefoot a lot.
It's true.
Yeah.
They're perfect. Super cozy.
Oh, I thought you meant your feet.
The socks.
You do have a perfectly shaped foot. Nice toe splay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Toe splay is pretty against the grain. Nobody cares about toe splay.
They should.
You look at people's shoes, people don't care about toe splay.
Obviously, these shoes that come to a point.
Yeah.
What in the world?
People are walking around with bunions right now, not caring about their toe splay, not realizing that they could heal those bunions, just cramming their toes into the shoe.
You think Paul Bunyan had bunions? Do you?
You're genuinely asking
I really want you to
you?
answer this.
No.
Do you think Paul Bunyan cared about toes?
He was the big guy?
Splash? Yeah.
Okay.
He's the big.
With the blue ox?
Yeah, Paul Bunyan. He had the blue ox.
I'm guessing he wore wide toe box boots. He was a hardworking man.
Yeah.
He wasn't cramming his toes, so I think he didn't have bunions.
No. Pecos Bill probably did. Those cowboy boots come to a point. And he had spurs, not on his spine, on his heels.
Lots of people have heel spurs.
He rode a horse.
I understand, but you were trying to act like it wasn't a bone issue, but lots of people have.
Thank you for listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast.
I learned
if you'd like to leave a review.
Let me just say this. I learned something this week. Did you know that people get their Achilles tendon replaced? I met a lady.
With a spring?
No.
Oh.
I met this lady.
That'd be cool if they could jump better.
She listens to the podcast. Her name's Holly.
Hi, Holly.
She had some. Are you okay with me sharing your medical information, Holly? Yeah.
Last name, social security number, and medical history.
She had some crazy bone spur thing, and she had to get her Achilles replaced, and they take a tendon out of your big toe. You have two in your big toe, and they replace it, and then you can't bend your big toe anymore.
Oh, so you can't jump higher.
No.
You remember the movie Rookie of the Year where he broke his arm and he could suddenly it was the best pitcher in this 12-year-old is the best pitcher in the major league. Maybe Holly would be the best basketball player in the NBA now.
Probably so. I could see that out of her.
But it only lasts for a season, Holly. It only lasts for a season till the end of the movie. And then you got to take that free throw at the end, but you don't have the.
What are you doing? I'm so confused. I'm lost. You lost me.
Just going against the grain's all I'm doing.
Thank you so much for listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, and if you want to leave a review,
No,
Just hit-
you can't.
I can't do it
again.
multiple times in this. Okay.
But
all
we
right.
did say we'd remind them. Check out the tour, reallyverycrunchy.com/tour.
See you next time.